The Hopman House is about shot and tactical discipline that tells you, hey, when you have a good hit and you do the preparation, then play your combos, play your patterns, touch the sidelines. Maybe you can take a little bit more risk if needed. But it also says that when you don't have a good hit, you're going to go certain spots. You're going to play the percentages. And the difficulty for us to understand is maybe I go through the middle of the court, aggressive, and I lose the point. And now you go like, but you know what? Coach said when I'm in trouble, you go through the middle. And I just lost the point. So what is that all about? That's tennis. You're going to do the right thing, and you're still going to lose the point sometimes. Go switch on the television, you'll see it. And then you have both players doing the right thing, and only one can win the point. That is, again, the nature of tennis. So let's go back quickly. If you measure yourself by the outcome of the point, you're in trouble. Because you're going to do something right, and you're still going to lose the point. And then you're going to feel disappointed about yourself. Instead, you should say, no, I've done a good job. Hey, well done. Good point. And now I'm going to come back at you, and I'm going to do it right again. But coach just said, go through the middle, play the safe spot, go aggressive there, and that's the right thing to do. You lose the point. What you don't see, because you're so committed in that moment about how you feel, how you're disappointed that coach gave you bad advice, but you don't look at the bigger picture, that actually out of 10 times, 7 times you're going to win the point if you do this, if you go through the middle. Why do we go, if we have a tennis court, and I'll quickly try and just draw it here, and here is the Hopman House. Why going through the middle here, deep and aggressive? Why is that a good option when you're not controlling the point, when you don't have a good hit, when you didn't do the preparation? Now we know the Australian says that you've got to go aggressive in defense, so they mean keep the hand fast. Same thing you hear in Spain, keep your hand fast. Lalana, why is that a good thing? Okay, one, if I do it with depth, it's going to push my opponent back off the baseline. And we know that's a good thing, because when you're back off the baseline, percentages count against you. It means that you're not going to give this person time pressure. You're also not going to have angle to work with. And switch the television on and you see that nobody hits winners from behind the baseline anymore. Also, when I push the opponent back and I go deep and aggressive through the middle, I might create time pressure. And they can't move me. They can't touch my sidelines because they don't have angle to work with. And what again is the biggest pressure that I can create physically on my opponent? Time pressure or movement pressure? Time pressure is not winning matches anymore, because we don't see players late anymore. All of them are out front, even on those big serves. But we still see all the opponents stretching for shots. And that's what we call hurt factor. Hurt factor is the most important thing for you one day to create. So if you're only going through the court, you got a problem, because you're not going to move opponents that much. But if you can touch their sidelines, and in order to touch their sidelines, you need to have court position, because your angle gets bigger. Now, court position, transitioning. Now we said, when you're in defense, push the opponent back. Push them back. The modern game is about court position. Again, switch the television on and see how many points are won because of court position. Now, first and foremost, you got to get court position, so you got to play the right way tactically, and your shot's got to be solid enough, and it's got to be consistent enough. Not just consistent enough, it needs to be solid enough as well. So now that you've pushed the opponent back, and you get court position, you transition, and you decide, I'm going to create hurt factor on them. By the way, the combo that leads to most winners, even without power, power doesn't create winners anymore, is when I create hurt factor on the opponent, I stretch them, and then I take the next ball early. I cut their recovery time. But let's get back to practice. Let's get back to matches. First thing we got to take care of, and this is what Coach Mark did with the 4 stages. He said, okay, at first, we're just going to hit a bunch of balls into the house deep. If you hit a quality shot past the service line, through the house, because we know in defense, that is where the percentages lie. And you'll be interested, you'll be amazed to see how often the pros are hitting here and here, on the edge of the house. Aggressive, centering the ball aggressive, not opening the court till they have the opportunity ball and they do the preparation and the transition. And then basically the first stage is hit a lot of balls through the Hopman House with quality. Let's say you achieve about 30. Now we go into stage 2. And this is where the progression becomes really good. And I know some of you guys heard this yesterday. He said, first thing you're going to now do is, now we're going to play the point out. But I want you to take care of intent. So 10 points where the whole point, you play with the right intent. Meaning, do I go in the house with my shot because I don't have prep, or my opponent is putting pressure on me, or I don't have a good hit? Or when I have an opportunity and I do the preparation, now I go outside of the house. I start touching outside of the house. I create pressure. I create angle on the opponent. So the whole point, I need to get my decision right. Even if my execution doesn't work out, but I have to have the right decision. And that teaches us that in tennis, we need to give ourselves an end destination. We need to give ourselves a target. If I know where the finishing line is and how far it is, I know how fast I can run, I know in what direction to run. And the same with tennis. If we don't give ourselves a target, the brain can't connect dots. It's not going to tell the body how to do it. And then, after you get the 10 points now you get 10 more, where you have to get the right decision first and foremost, plus execute. So meaning finding margin on my shots. Because you got 2 jobs in tennis, intent and execution. And then, once you've taken care of intent and execution, and you got 10 more points doing that, now we say, okay, now we need that to lead to outcome, to results, to winning the point. Only then do we focus on winning the point. But what we typically get is that for us practicing and as juniors, a lot of times because of our egos, we try and win the point without taking care of these 2, intent and execution. And I see often when somebody loses a point, they get upset. Yet, they didn't take care of intent, they didn't take care of execution. That is your job. Nobody else's job. So, if you lose the point, don't be disappointed because of the outcome. Be disappointed because you didn't get your execution right, your job, or you didn't make a good decision, or you didn't make it early enough. By the way, that's why we need to be in the moment. So, take care of intent, then execution, and then the 4th stage of the Hopman House exercise is, if you take care of this, you take care of this, obviously you play smart enough, tactically, based on who's on the other side of the net and all what they give you, then 7 out of 10 times you should get the outcome, the result, the win. Not every time. Again, you're going to sometimes do all of it right, your opponent's also going to do all of it right, and you're going to lose the point. Or the opponent gets lucky, and that is tennis. So, with these 4 stages of the Hopman House, and we're recording it today because I want you guys to go back to it, and I want you to study it, make it yours. What it gives you is tactical and shot discipline. And tactical and shot discipline, when now you have the skills, technically, and with your movement and the basics, right? That forms a very powerful combination. And remember the quote I gave you, that it's the one drop of water every day that creates a hole in the rock, not one splash of water. So meaning, you in terms of tactical and shot discipline, that's what we want to do. Every day we want to get a little bit better with this, a little bit better with this. And by the way, the last stage of this is if you win the point outcome, but you didn't take care of intent or execution somewhere at the point, then don't take the point. And now we understand that winning and losing a point is not what defines us. It doesn't make us more or less. But if we take care of intent and execution, that is what should define you. So now let's go a little bit further to tournaments. You go and play a tournament. I don't see the match. Mom and dad maybe don't see the match. My peers, my friends don't see the match. I lose 2-2. And they go like, probably played bad. Oh, lost to that person. But maybe in that match, you really work hard at this and this because you want to develop as a player. Also after that match, you go back to the drawing board and you say, hey, this is where I got to be better. That's what I got to do better. And typically what we do is we feel disappointment. We feel labeled. What are they going to think? What's so-and-so going to think? And our ego starts making excuses. No. Doesn't matter. You lost. So what? The sun comes up tomorrow. Go back to the drawing board. You got tested under pressure. Also, but if you went to the tournament and you focused on outcome, you didn't take care of these two things, we got a problem. Because maybe you lose that match, maybe you win that match. But 6 months, 12 months down the line, the person that zooms in on this and this, under pressure, they're going to go past you. So start focusing on this and this. Let's talk about UTR. You step on court with a higher UTR and you think, I should win the match. No, don't think that way. You're not supposed to win the match. You still got to do the work. You still got to produce the level. It's only an indicator. You still have to do the work. You go on court against a higher UTR, you're like, excellent. Today I'm going to produce a level. Let's see if you can cope with it. I don't care who you are. I don't care what your UTR is. If your ball coming over the net deserves my respect, I'll respect it. If it doesn't, I'm not going to respect it. And I'm going to get this and this right. And then eventually I'm going to figure out how to play smart enough against you. I don't care what your level is, to get this as well. So change your thinking. All right, 2 jobs, intent, execution, you take care of it, and it'll start taking care of your percentages, but you're not going to win every point. All right, guys, wish you all the best with that.